Previously heard on Chuck and Bo.
Yeah, I'm just curious. How do we settle on Chuck and Bo instead of Bo and Chuck?
Chuck is he's a Hall of Famer. When he leaves and rides into the sunset, it'll just be Bo show. Instead of we just get rid of Chuck and.
Chuck, do you hear that? He's already planning for your departure.
Well, you think he's planning for it? Holy cow! I've been looking for an exit strategy for like 3 or 4 months.
That's great.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
I would resist the urge to drink this morning.
Stop! I'm done.
You said a lot of good things there.
Well, I don't know if I said one good thing.
I met a guy last night. Love y'all to death, Jeff.
You mind if I share?
I'm looking forward to it.
The show of record for Razorback fans.
I'm in my Sunday school, and first thing he says when we hop in the car, he says, "Let's turn on the Chuck and Bo show."
It's too early for this kind of conversation. I'm still half asleep.
Here are your hosts, Chuck Barrett and Bo Mattingly.
Bart drove his new car into work today for the first time. I know you're on cloud 9 right now. Man. Bart got a new ride over the weekend, and that first drive into work on a Monday morning after a weekend purchase. What was it like for you today?
Oh, man, let me tell you. It was smooth.
I noticed
had the sunroof open.
Did you really?
Way. Oh, yeah.
It's huge.
Oh, yeah.
I noticed you're not parking it out in the Commoners parking lot, but you kind of pulled into the
I don't want anybody
the
parking.
private drive.
I don't want anybody.
You don't want anybody dinging it?
No.
That was
no.
You joined me.
We're gonna
in our okay.
Yeah,
we're gonna be
over there.
We're gonna be parking away from everybody
That's
for the next 5
parking.
years.
Yeah, you and Edward have commandeered this area over there because nobody's here. Let's be honest.
Right.
When we pull into the building, nobody's here. And
it's about when we leave. And throughout the day.
And so when we leave, there are more cars in the parking lot, and we have the common parking area, which is where I park. And
well, you're a man of the people, Chuck.
Bo has his customary spot that is marked reserved for Bo, and then we have the little cove over here where Edward parks. And now you park over there.
Yeah. And will be for the foreseeable future.
And all of a sudden I look around and I'm the only one parking in the Commoners parking lot. And so I wonder what's happened. Where am I in the pecking order right now? Is there something I need to know?
Well,
Bo's disappeared. I don't know if he's quit. I don't know what's happened. I don't know if he's just hanging me out to dry. I have no idea. But if you guys need to tell me something, let's just go ahead and get it out here in the open while he's gone.
Well, Chuck, I think if you buy a new car, you get to kick Edward out of his spot.
I mean,
you got to beat me in to kick me out of my spot.
Everybody's got their own spot.
Call a tow truck.
I pulled into Bo's spot this morning. Yeah. I actually pulled into the spot that said reserved for Bo.
It's funny how people park in the in the same spots every day.
Is.
Regardless of now, I understand some people. You work at it for a company or whatever, and you might have assigned parking stalls or spots or whatever. But for those who don't, it is funny how you park in like the same spot or as close to that spot as possible.
So let's get back to that new ride.
Yeah.
You got it over the weekend. Tell us about it. Tell us about your buying experience.
Well, I met with our friends.
This is not an ad.
No, this is not an ad.
This is not although that will come later. But right now, this is not an ad.
Not an ad.
Okay.
Had a great experience. This all happened really quickly. Needed a new ride, wanted to get a new ride.
Your air conditioner went
out. Went over to the auto park and talked to our friends over there. And I'll tell you what, like I said, this happened really quickly on Friday. Went over there. We've got exactly what you want, exactly what you're looking for. Took it out for a test drive. They actually pulled the floor model off for me.
They rolled out the
Brand
red carpet for
new
you. They saw you coming
vehicle.
a mile away.
Had like 7 miles on it.
This guy's got to have a car. He's got to have a car. He's somewhat obligated. So we're going to make him think he's like the king of the world.
And like the whole experience all the way through was nothing but smooth. Trading in my old vehicle, purchasing the new one, taking care of all the paperwork, all that stuff. I mean, I want to say, Chuck, I was maybe there 2 hours.
Wow. Once they get you in the test drive, once you test drive the car, it's over.
Well, I got in there and
it was over.
I took it around the block and was like, this is
Because here's the deal.
Nice.
Here's the deal. If you're going in to buy a new car and you get behind the wheel of a new car, it's going to be 10,000 times better than what you've been driving.
That's right.
Even if it's not exactly what you were thinking about, it's so much better than what you've been driving that you're hooked. Well, I'm glad for you. You drove it around yesterday. How many miles you put on it this weekend? Open that sunroof yesterday?
Oh, man.
That's
absolutely.
awesome, I bet.
Absolutely.
Drive it around in the country some?
That was one feature I was not expecting. Like, it was not on my list of things that I necessarily needed. But, man, I'll tell you what, it's awfully nice to have.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're gonna go buy a new car, it's not like you're talking about a $5,000 option. Yeah, it's worth it. Well, I'm glad for you, and that's a good fit. Brand new car.
Brand new.
Brand
spanking. 7 miles on it.
Wow, it's got that smell.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's big.
I've never seen a car with just 7 miles on it.
You're
the guy working with me on the paperwork said this is close. The lowest I've ever seen is 2.
It's a big moment for you. It's a big moment for you.
So thanks to our friends at the Fayetteville Auto Park.
I don't know if you guys heard, but Shedeur got drafted finally in the 5th round. Not a lot of people are talking about it, so I thought I would just go ahead and bring that to the table early on because I know people are turning on wondering if, in fact, he ever got drafted.
Milk Diaper is on line 1.
It did happen on Saturday. Finally, my God, it finally happened It was the 5th round, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so
to Cleveland, who had already drafted a quarterback.
Well, their quarterback room's got like 7 or 8 people in there.
Joe Flacco's involved.
But I saw where Dion said he was going to that first meeting because Shedeur doesn't take a back seat to anyone. And can you imagine? I mean, seriously.
Jeez.
Can you imagine? Like, Edward, Bart, you guys are going to bring your dad to work because you're not sure that you're getting a fair shake around here. So bring your dad. Bring your dad in, and we'll talk about it. Are you kidding me? I mean, look, I'm a Dion fan. I've always enjoyed Dion. World-class player. I think his heart's in the right place. There are worse dads than Dion.
There are.
I mean,
certainly.
He may be a little bit overactive, but there are worse dads out there than Shedeur Sanders. But has it not dawned on him that it's him, or at least he's a big part of it? His sons are really, really good players, arguably great players. They're not as great as he was, but they're arguably great players. But the circus comes to town when they're on your team. And you have to ask yourself, if you're a coach, a general manager, or an owner, not can Shedeur handle it, not can I handle Dion being around all the time, but how does it affect my team? How does it affect that locker room? How does it affect our performance out on the field? Shedeur's not going to be out on the field. He's not going to be playing. Somebody else is going to be playing. And their fortunes next season are not going to be determined by Shedeur Sanders. It's going to be determined by the people who are there now, the people who are actually going to play. How does the circus affect them? That's the question you have to ask if you're an owner. And I think it was asked and answered, basically, when we were going through the draft. We hear that word fit, and man, it's a general term, and it's a murky term, and it's one of those terms that you can't really define, but you know it when you feel it. You know it when you feel it. You know it's right, and you should know it when it's wrong. Hopefully you do. Hopefully you don't try to, put a square peg into a round hole. I mean, some people try to do that, and it just never seems to work. But fit's really important. And I think all the things that come with Shedeur Sanders are what kept him from being drafted until the 5th round, not whether or not he's going to be a good player. I suspect in the final analysis he will overperform your average fifth-round pick. I do think he's a good player. And I do think they're obviously the football people, when you put it under a microscope, they see things other people don't, myself included. But I'll be surprised if he's not a pretty good player before it's all said and done. But he's not as good as his dad. And I think that, that's the rub. Deion's got to take a step back. I mean, he's got to take 2 or 3 steps back. These are kids that have never been coached by anybody but their dad. This has been like Little League on steroids. The coach's kid playing shortstop. Every time there's a bad play, it's somebody else's fault. This has been going on their whole lives. And so it's going
to be a rude awakening.
Once you have been labeled as a me guy or an entitled guy in sports, I'm not saying it's a death knell.
It's hard to,
but it's hard to. That's a label that's hard to shed. When you are, and based on some of the reports that we heard, that word entitled came up a lot. And he does give off that aura. There's
he does.
There's no question about it. And that's why I say, how does it affect the grown-ups in the room that are actually going to be doing the work? Because, again, Shedeur is not going to – he's not going to determine their fate next year. There's a lot of stuff out there. That's on the table. Want to talk some baseball. It's a good series. Wrong team won. Florida won yesterday. Took the series. Arkansas has lost 3 straight conference series now. You're just going to have to hold your nose and realize that Texas is running away with this thing. Texas has got a 5-game lead over the field with 9 to play. They're going to be hard to catch. But they're going to be here later this week. So we'll get into that. Softball team had a great weekend. 9th-ranked team in the country. Took 2 of 3 from the 2nd-ranked team in the country. Have I got that right, Bart?
That's right.
There's now a Bree Ellis billboard on I-49.
Really?
Yeah. Me and Bart are trying to figure out who placed it.
Is it like an ad? Is it like an NIL deal? Like somebody's
no,
logo's on there?
It says it has her name and her picture, and then it says something along the lines of Bree Ellis is the best softball player, college softball player in the country resides at Bogle Park.
Wow.
I think. It was very early when I passed it this morning.
Well, I'm sure.
She
Dark,
is in
too.
the
very dark.
She is in the running for National Player of the Year. Like that's the kind of season
Wow, her
she's
own
having,
billboard.
and that's the kind of year that the softball team's having.
I'll try to snag a picture
They're
later.
really good. They're really good, and so is she.
And speaking of NIL, not going to have to pay taxes on that in Arkansas. I didn't realize this. I maybe my head was under a rock. Maybe this is part of the demise of, daily, the daily newspaper and things like that. But I didn't even know this was going on. I don't know if a lot of people even know now that the governor signed legislation Friday. No state taxes on NIL earnings for student athletes. Arkansas is the first state that didn't already not have state taxes, to say that NIL money won't be taxed. There are 9 states, I guess, that don't have state income tax. Obviously, nobody pays state taxes there. Arkansas has become the first state to pass a law that says you're not going to have to pay state taxes on your NIL earnings. Now, there are proposals, at least there's been discussion. Alabama, Georgia, and Louisiana are states where they've talked about this. They have state sales tax, as do we, but Arkansas is the first to pass it. I got a feeling that's going to be a topic during the course of the week. There's so much left over from the weekend. I don't know, but that's a thorny deal right there. I mean, that's the sort of analysis you don't get everywhere. Thorny deal, but. Be interested to know how people feel about that as we go along. I got mixed feelings about it.
Yeah, I don't
have
feel
mixed feelings
particularly
about it.
great about it.
I have mixed feelings about it. 877-377-6963. Those are the numbers that is the number that'll get you into the program. At Chuck and Bo Show. Bo, by the way, I should have mentioned this. I buried the lead. Bo is on assignment today. He's no longer sick. He has recovered. But he is on special assignment today. So special, none of us really know what he's doing. But it's pretty special.
Must be.
So he's on assignment today, in all seriousness. This had been pre-planned. It just coincided with a sickness that came about last week. So what was going to be, hey, man, do you think you can handle Monday morning? Sure. Has turned into like a 5-day vacation. So whenever Bo's plane lands, he'll be back with us. All right, quick break. This is the Chuck and Bo Show. 6:17. Good morning.
Kids, there's never a good deal good enough with a bad person. Still a bad deal.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
First Security is about more than great banking. Yes, we provide the financial expertise, digital tools, and everything else you need when you need it. But we also go all in on local support with friendly professionals, plus convenient locations all across the state. Because we believe personal banking is better banking. Visit fsbank.com for details. That's fsbank.com for friendly, local banking with First Security. Bank better. Member FDIC.
Buying or selling a home's a big deal, and you want someone who is with you every step of the way. That's why those of us at the Chuck and Bo Show wholeheartedly recommend Weicker Realtors, the Griffin Company, because we've experienced it. They've been my partners for life. They're Bo's partner now, and I promise you, when you become involved with Weicker Realtors, the Griffin Company, they'll become your partners for life too. They've been turning houses into homes since 1978, and you can always log on and check out their selection at WeicherGriffin.com.
It seems like everything is more expensive this year, but replacing your AC doesn't have to be. If you need to replace your AC this summer, before you commit, price check with Paschal. You can save money and use the professionals to replace your system. Enjoy the peace of mind knowing you chose the best option for your home. Visit gopaschal.com and with just a few clicks, see how much you can save with the Paschal price check. Paschal Air, Plumbing, and Electric.
Arkansas's one-stop automotive shop is right around the corner. Fayetteville Auto Park. FayettevilleAutoPark.com. Chevy, Toyota, Honda, Acura, Collision Center, all in one place. And if you're shopping pre-owned, Fayetteville Auto Park has you covered. With so many new cars sold, we always have a great selection of fresh trades. Why settle for anything less than the best? Fayetteville Auto Park, West Showroom Drive in Fayetteville. Proud sponsor of the Chuck and Bo Show.
Why don't you just kind of style it up a little bit at the game? Let's get your drip going.
Hey, I got a lot more drip than you think.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
I'm leaving for more money if I can find it. The portal's open on the show.
Okay.
I think the NPR station's on the phone.
Now they're funding.
Yeah.
Good cut.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
Portal ended for football over the weekend, and I guess Arkansas got a commitment or two based on what I read. And right now, you're just looking to find a diamond in the rough, and maybe they'll be able to find one. Let's catch up. We started chit-chatting here at the start about Bart's new ride and all that. Did you tell him how you were going to pay for it, by the way? Somebody wondered. Somebody texted in and wondered if you had to explain to them how you would pay. Oh, okay.
No, I didn't have to explain.
Because it is funny how they want to be paid. Yeah. I mean, it is funny how they want you to pay for that car.
It is a transactional experience.
It is.
But it was a good one.
All right. Well, good. Good. Let's start with baseball. Hogs dropped 2 of 3 at Florida. Lost the rubber game yesterday. This was Dave Van Horn when it was over.
Well, we just have to get better at a few things. Number one, we got to have a little better clutch hitting. Left too many runners out there, and kind of the same thing happened on Friday. And Friday we struck out too many times. Kind of corrected that last couple of days, but couldn't really get the big hit. That happens. He kind of runs in streaks a little bit, but starting pitching got to get better. Got to show us a little more, and that'd be the 2 things that jump out at me right away.
So what do you think? I mean, we got used to early in the season. I mean, they just show up, have a big inning, and, win the ball game. They scored 5 early yesterday. I'm thinking, okay, they're going to run them out, come home 2 of 3. Not everything that you want, but my goodness. I mean, you go on the road and win 2 or 3 ball games. That's great. Get ready to play Texas. And then they didn't score again. And all the while, Florida was doing a good bit of scoring. And I know Florida's playing well right now. Arkansas has had an unfortunate break in that they've caught A&M and Florida when they were getting better. Both of them are going to be in the NCAA tournament now, I think. And it was, that was up in the air for a while. But Texas, at LSU, home against Tennessee. That's what's left. You're not going to win the regular season. I think they're not the only ones saying that right now.
No,
Texas is going to win the regular season.
Texas has a 5-game
lead with 9 to play
over Arkansas and LSU in second. Tennessee's third. I mean, it's a murderer's row of a schedule for the Hogs down the stretch. If there's a time to get right, it's right now.
I watched Texas and Texas A&M play a good bit over the weekend when the Razorback games were over. Those are the games I watched, and man, I mean that was really competitive. I mean, I think it was 3 one-run ball games, if I'm not mistaken, and Texas ended up sweeping the series. But A&M's playing really well right now. Arkansas caught them at a bad time, caught Florida at a bad time, and I'm not sure Texas isn't the best team out there right now. I hate to say it.
Just an update for all those keeping track after the weekend of SEC baseball. Texas 19-2 leads the league. Missouri 0-21.
Well, look, hey, if you want to get right,
0-21.
Ask Alabama. If you want to get right and you want to jump back into the race, I mean, what a perfect time to play Missouri.
How are you winless? How are you 0-21?
It's not easy.
It's
not easy. They scored 5 in the top of the first the other night and lost. So, I mean, you got to work at it sometimes.
Jiminy Christmas.
But,
golly.
I'll tell you, had a good weekend. Softball had a good weekend.
Now she's lifted one deep to left off the top of the scoreboard, and she adds a couple more to it. 24th home run of the year for Bree Ellis, her second of the day. 7-2 Razorbacks.
She hit it a ton.
I can't remember what the estimated distance was on it, but they had the StatCast info on the broadcast, And whoever the color commentator was.
Who was that guy, by the way? Was that on TV?
No, that was a plus. That was an SEC Network Plus
I got
game.
You. Guy won a raffle, got to do the game.
But the color commentator was just floored when the play-by-play guy, and again, apologies, I'm unfamiliar with these people.
That's okay.
Was just floored on like the distance, like speechless.
Yeah.
It was hit a ton.
Well, they won 2 of 3.
They won Friday, Saturday. Yep.
That was in College Station, right?
Yeah. At number 2 A&M.
A&M was ranked 2nd. Arkansas was ranked 9th. Now, Bart, you're a fan.
I am. Yeah.
You go.
I do.
How? I mean, you keep up with it. It's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
How good are they?
They're really good. They are, I would say at this point, look, one regular season series left. That's LSU comes to Bogle Park starting Thursday. It's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series. They're in position to be a top 8 national seed and host.
Really?
They are really good. I mean, look, they have 3 series wins now against top, depending on what poll you're looking at, top 7 teams. This is their 2nd series win at the number 2 team in the country this year after they went to Florida and won a series. They're as good as anybody in the country when they're playing their best. And
they go on the road. That's the thing. I mean, there are times, and I'm not knocking them. Nobody wins every home series. But there are times they'll play at home. It's like, well, they were good this weekend. Then they'll go on the road and like, they were really good this weekend. I mean, it's hard to explain, I guess is what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, they're a fairly complete team in terms of what they have with frontline pitching and then, I mean, their bats, they can really hit. When they're hitting well, they can really, really hit. As good as anybody.
They play at home this coming weekend?
Yeah, LSU comes to town.
And that's a
Thursday, Saturday.
Friday, Saturday. Mm-hmm. I know you'll be there.
I will be, yeah.
Front and center.
Try to stay off TV too much.
Are your seats where, like, every once in a while they will pan over there to you? Because I've watched a time or two and wondered if they would, like, pan to you.
I've been on TV a few times, yes.
Really? So you sit down by the field, I'm sure.
I do, yes.
I mean, it's fairly close. Every seat there's a good seat, as they say.
It is. It's a great ballpark.
Do I have time to get into the Razorbacks who were drafted in this segment, or do we need to
we should probably hit a break.
Let's do it next.
Guide me. All right, we'll do it when we come back. 877-377-6963. Landon Jackson, Isaac Tesla, and a bunch of others will be signing contracts. We'll put it that way. We'll get to that when we come back. This is the Chuck and Bo Show. Good morning. Do you think Kim Mulkey could operate a jackhammer?
The Chuck and Bo Show.
I'm Dr. Scotty Bolding, a native Arkansan oral and maxillofacial surgeon. One of my goals is to make Arkansans healthier.
If you have sleep disorder breathing, it's important to treat it properly. The standard treatment's a breathing machine called CPAP. It helps you breathe during the night. However, there are other options thanks to some truly innovative and proven technologies.
Sleep is probably God's gift of medicine that we really don't utilize enough. If you have obstructive sleep apnea, it needs to be treated. So you need to be wearing your CPAP. So if you're not wearing your CPAP, there are some potential surgical solutions that can help you that actually work today. By correcting the jaw deformities that may be causing this obstructive sleep apnea is where we focus.
Dr. Bolding at Precedent Center for Facial and Dental Medicine works carefully with your sleep physician, determines where the underlying obstruction may be, and provides surgical solutions that open the airway, allowing you to breathe better.
Hey, give us a call, 479-755-3000, or log on to our website, precedent.com, PRECIDENT. We'd love to help.
Today's been it's been a strange day.
Yeah, we've had some struggles here and there. Let's just be blunt. Can we be blunt?
Well, it's 50-50 at best.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
Hey, I go a little bit deeper than most people. I mean, I wanted to know.
There is. Depth is a word that comes to mind to describe you.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
6:35 on a Monday morning. As we welcome you back to the Chuck and Bo Show. Bo is away on assignment today. No longer ill, merely on assignment today. And he'll be back with us tomorrow. Hey, Bart bought a car over the weekend. That's a lot of money. Buying and selling a home, particularly, I guess, if you're buying a home, most money you've ever spent in all probability. And that's why, you want somebody on your side of the table that understands that, respects that, knows what your goals are, helps you get there. That's what you're always going to find at Weicker Realtors, the Griffin Company. That was certainly my experience, has been my experience. I think Bo would tell you that's his family's experience. And what I would go even further is to state that I think pretty much anybody that partners with Weicker Realtors, the Griffin Company, would tell you the same thing. Nobody's better trained, number one, than a Weichert agent. Nobody has better real estate training than Weichert. And that means when you partner with them, you are getting someone who is going to understand all the ins and outs. And when I say understand all the ins and outs, I'm talking about ins and outs that save you money. Because, again, we're talking about a serious financial transaction. Now, they've got offices in Washington County, Benton County, Fort Smith, Branson. They've been turning houses into homes since 1978, and you can always log on to WeicherGriffin.com. All right, I got to read one text before we move on. Hog Wild says, the Arkansas baseball team is done. Done. Peaked
Done?
Finished, I tell you. Peaked way too soon. The bats went dead once the competition toughened up. Starting pitching mediocre as well. Fool's gold. Now, you substitute a few words in there. Well, that's late January in basketball. I mean, seriously. I mean, Arkansas, it's like January 30th. Arkansas basketball is done. Well, you can't say they peaked too soon. I guess that would not apply. Competition's toughened up, which, of course, happened once they got into the SEC. My point is that it might be a little bit too soon to spread dirt over them. I mean, let's not go there just yet. Here's the thing. Anyone that's followed baseball for a long time knows that you're going to go through a stretch where you're not any good. And teams that over the long haul aren't any good will go through a stretch where they play well. Now, I happen to think Florida's good. I mean, I'll go back to the 22-3 non-conference record, and I think they're a pretty decent team. A&M's a good team. It's not like they went out there and lost to, Missouri or somebody like that. I mean, they lost to legit teams that are going to be in the NCAA tournament. I think both of those teams will be now, in part because they won series over Arkansas. I think that's probably for both of them. That's the series that they point to and say, yeah, we're NCAA tournament worthy. And I think that's probably going to be enough, just to be honest. Arkansas is in a spot now where they've got Texas, they've got to go to LSU, and then they play Tennessee. All of them are obviously top shelf in terms of our league. LSU just took 2 from Tennessee over the weekend in Baton Rouge. LSU's been up and down, but I've always believed, and most years I'm right. When it starts getting hot down there in Baton Rouge, LSU's going to start playing well. That's just kind of how it works. First off, baseball is a warm weather sport. I don't think the cream rises to the top. I've never thought the cream rises to the top. I don't even think the season really starts until the 1st of May, if you want to get right down to it. That's just always kind of been my view. You got to get to baseball season. You got to get to the warm weather before you really find out how good a baseball team you've had. And now look, that's not to gloss over what's going on right now. Winning baseball is it's something we grew accustomed to watching them play. And I don't think it's, Dave talked about the hitting and the pitching and all that goes into it. But it comes under the heading of winning baseball. And I think that's what they've got to get back to. What a simple statement that is. But it's obviously a lot more complicated than that. And Again, I watched Texas over the weekend. They're really good. But, when Arkansas is hot, when Arkansas is playing well, Arkansas is really good too. So, it's going to be a rough stretch over the last 9. But you know what? 2 of those teams have to come to Fayetteville. And that's going to be rough for them. Because despite what's happened, I'm sure Baum Stadium is going to be rocking on Thursday night. Everything starts on Thursday night from this point forward, right?
At home.
And they'll play their last midweek game tomorrow night in Springfield against Missouri State. Am I right on that?
That's right, yeah.
Okay. And then they'll host Texas this weekend. LSU and Baton Rouge is Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
That's right.
And Tennessee's Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
I'll give you just a quick stat here, Chuck, that just kind of encapsulates everything that you were just talking about, that Dave's been talking about, and just kind of the overall vibe with the baseball program right now. Last 9 SEC games, so that's 3 series losses for the Razorbacks. Last 9 games, Arkansas has outscored the competition 58-53.
Really?
Yeah. What that tells me is it really is a kind of it's just baseball thing right now, and they're gonna snap out of this pretty quick.
Well, they've lost some close games. Now it got a little out of hand yesterday, but they battled back. But it was just kind of a frustrating weekend. Let's talk about some fun stuff for a minute.
Yeah, let's do it.
Landon Jackson got drafted over the weekend, 3rd round, and here's what he had to say.
Landon, how you doing, buddy?
How you doing, man?
You doing all right?
I'm good.
You excited? I love it, man.
I'm excited.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Where are you at? You with your family?
Yeah, I'm back home.
Back home. And listen, we're excited about you. We're excited you're still here, and you're going to really help us out, man. Love how you play. Love your play style.
Hey, sir, I appreciate you. You're good dogs.
I love it. I love that. That's awesome. Well, listen, we've got a few coaches, starting with Coach McDermott, wants to say hello to you, and then we're going to get you up here tomorrow. I look forward to seeing you in person, buddy.
Yes, sir. That sounds great.
All right, here's Coach McDermott.
Hey, buddy, congrats, man.
Thank you. Thank you, Coach.
You're going to make me cry, man. You crying over there, buddy. Hey, man, great moment for you and your family, right? Great moment, buddy.
Yes, sir.
Enjoy this,
Thank
man.
you.
You've earned it. You're our type
Yes,
of
sir.
guy, our type of player. Come in, do a great job, and can't wait to have you here in Buffalo with us, man. You're going to love it.
Yes, sir. I'm ready to work.
How can you not be happy for that guy? I mean, how can you? Now, it was kind of funny. I mean, he's crying like a baby. Hey, man, you're getting a dog, Coach. You're getting a dog. I've seen a lot of the video, and I know you guys probably have too over the weekend. But that was it was a great moment for him. And when you see these families around the players who are drafted, you realize what a life-changing moment it is for everyone. We watch the football, and we debate whether or not a guy's going to be good enough to play in the pros. But for those families, it is life-changing. And they were down in Texarkana, and you just couldn't be happy. At least I couldn't help but be happy for all of them. I was happy for him, but I knew that was going to happen. But you see those families, and that's when it, at least for me anyway, really kind of hits home.
It's just cool, man. Like, fans get to watch these guys play. And look, I understand it's different now with the transfer portal. Landon Jackson's one of those guys who's been a Razorback for a few years, and you've gotten to kind of follow his journey and watch him get better and watch him put himself in position to get drafted. He's going to Buffalo. Look, I think he has a bright future in the league, and you can't help but be really happy for a guy who you've watched grow as a player and a person with the Razorbacks.
If you'll remember, when the show ended on Friday, I tried to goad Edward into blurting out that Isaac Tesla would be taken before Landon Jackson.
This did happen.
He did not take the bait. He did not take the bait.
I told you all week he was going to be a day 2 pick.
I understand that. But You do
realize I was shocked.
You do realize you could be sitting here right now saying, "I told you people."
Well, you tried to bait me into saying that I wanted Isaac Tessler.
No.
Yes, I will go back and play the tape.
I said you're wanting to say. I didn't say you were wanting
I
him
don't
to.
know.
Now you go back and listen to the tape. Throw your challenge flag out there.
All right.
And Isaac grew up in Michigan, and Lions guy. Is it the GM?
This is Brad Holmes.
Okay,
GM.
all right.
When he came on his top 30 of his, he had on a Lions jersey. And I thought he just did like a cheesy move just to just some fanboy stuff. And I'm just like, oh, come on, you didn't put the Lions jersey on. But he said, no, I've had it since the 8th grade. And he was like, what better time to wear it than now? And so I really respected that. But no, he grew up as a Lions fan through and through. But obviously that is not why we were excited to go up there and pick him. We were excited to go up there and pick him because he's big, he can run, he's tough, he's smart, he's a hands catcher, and he blocks, and he plays special teams. And that's why we're excited to go get him.
All right, I'm going to jump out on a limb here. He's going to play longer than any of them. All the guys we've been talking about since the microphones opened up this morning, and I'm including Shedeur in this. Tesla will play longer than all of them.
He's
a 10-year guy. He's a 10-year guy if he doesn't get hurt. And that is when I watch, and I didn't really think this, honestly, at the end of the season. But as I've watched what's happened since the end of the season, that's a professional football player. And he's just got the look and the feel, and you look at it now, and when I look at him, I think, that guy's going to be a pro for 10 years.
And he's joining a franchise that has a lot of good mojo right now. A lot of good people in place. That's already a good wide receiver room. He's making it better.
They traded up a lot to go draft him, too, so they like him.
All right, we got to hit a break. Let me point out their basketball team in Detroit can't beat the Knicks, though. Knicks won yesterday. Up 3 games to 1. Go ahead.
That's 4 Razorbacks now on the Detroit Lions.
Is that right?
Frank Ragnow, Dan Skipper, Jake Bates, Isaac Tessler.
Woo pig suey.
The Detroit Razorbacks.
6:48. This is the Chuck and Bo Show. Good morning.
I want to see you and Bart in the old 3-legged race.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. Let me just...
The Chuck and Bo Show.
Hey, you can beat inflation and upgrade your ride at Chevy of Fayetteville. Right now, drive home a brand new Chevy Silverado, Blazer, Equinox EV, or the Tough 2500 with rates as low as 1.9% APR. Plus, take advantage of huge discounts and get top dollar for your trade-in. Go see Chris, Mark, and Denver at Chevy of Fayetteville, where the deals are big and the road ahead is even better. Chevy of Fayetteville. Let's drive. If you've been hurt in a car wreck, if you're struggling to get your Social Security disability, or you're buried in debt thinking about bankruptcy, don't wait. You need a legal team that knows how to fight for Arkansans.
That's why you can trust Cadell Reynolds. Bill Reynolds and his team know how to get results when it matters most. Whether it's personal injury, disability, or bankruptcy, they've got the experience and they've got your back.
So don't go it alone. Make the right call. Dial 866-314-3728 or visit CadellReynolds.com today.
With Oaklawn Sports, the action never stops and the season is never over. It's now easier than ever to wager on your favorite sports all year long. Go from football to basketball to baseball to golf. Bet on what you want, when you want, with the brand you trust. Oaklawn Sports even offers ways to bet on cricket, rugby, table tennis, and more. If it's a sport, chances are you can wager on it. Plus, it's now simpler to deposit and withdraw money from your account. Bet all year long with Oaklawn Sports, Arkansas's best sports betting app. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
There's simply not a better shopping experience than Macadoodles. Looking for the best selection of beer, wine, and spirits? Macadoodles or Guess Who in Bentonville has you covered. With an unbeatable selection, amazing prices, and service that's unbeatable, they've got everything you need. Whether you're stocking up for a party, updating your bar, or just grabbing your favorites, Roger and the team are always there to help. Make the smart choice. Macadoodles, just north of Bella Vista at the state line, and Guess Who in Bentonville.
We care a lot about supporting Arkansas businesses here on the Chuck and Bo Show, and we both like keeping our rides looking good. Splash Car Wash just became our new neighbors here in Fayetteville. They're a locally owned Arkansas business, and they've been serving the state since 1989. They're good folks, and you can get a free car wash by texting Splash Arkansas to 22322. That's Splash Arkansas to 22322.
If you haven't tried a flight by Yuengling, you're missing out on the great taste of Yuengling that is a light beer. It's the next generation of light beer. Get it on draft, in the can, the new skinny cans, and now the new 16-ounce resealable twist-off aluminum bottle. Perfect for any occasion. It's just 95 calories, and you're still enjoying a Yuengling. Take your beer game to new heights with Flight by Yuengling, the next generation of light beer.
How was Saturday night for you after the game? What'd you do to celebrate?
The only few I thought maybe get a few cold beers in there, maybe help it out a little bit.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
I said, well, the hill doesn't look that steep. Let me take a down! And then You rolled down a hill? That's not true. No, that's true. Well, I hit a bunch of rocks. It was 60 feet.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
That was Jay Leno when he was making up that story about why he fell down the hill.
I still don't even believe I still think something nefarious was going on.
Jay is 75 today is the reason that that's come up. And Bart still believes that he was being rolled over gambling debts.
100%.
Well, I hit a bunch of rocks. It was 60 feet.
Now, did he hit the rocks or did they hit him? But he's 75 years old today. And were you a Leno guy or Letterman guy?
Oh, Letterman.
What about you,
Letterman
Edward?
Too young to
have
an opinion.
True. Edward's like,
I
who?
was born in 1998.
Really?
Yeah.
Good God. I mean, really.
Do the math.
But I was a Letterman guy. You can tell, particularly in our business.
Oh, 100%.
In our business, somebody that's on air, someone that's talent, so to speak, you can talk to them, and you get into like show bits and what you'd like to do, you can tell right away whether or not they watch Letterman or Leno growing up.
That's right.
The Leno guys, a little bit soft, maybe. Letterman guys have a little bit more edge to them.
Yeah.
Hey, First Security Bank, it's about more than banking. They've got all the things you need to bank better, but it's more than that. Local support, convenient locations, friendly, local banking. Bank better. Check them out online at fsbank.com. Bank better at First Security Bank, member FDIC. All right, we're through with the preliminaries. I want to talk about this sales tax thing. Chuck and Bo Show, almost 7 o'clock.
Ty Story, high school football coach and former college quarterback.
I love coaching, but it's a lot more fun after LASIK. Now when I'm coaching, I can focus on my players and not my eyes. After LASIK, my eyes are even better than before when I had glasses or wore contacts. The McDonald Eye Team was great. They put me at ease. I couldn't believe how well I was seeing the day after surgery. Good vision and good football go together. I'm really glad I trusted my eyes to McDonald Eye Associates.
See your best with safe and affordable LASIK from McDonald Eye Associates. Register for your free consultation at mcdonaldeye.com.
Buying or selling a home's a big deal, and you want someone who is with you every step of the way. That's why those of us at the Chuck and Bo Show wholeheartedly recommend Weicker Realtors, the Griffin Company, because we've experienced it. They've been my partners for life. They're Bo's partner now, and I promise you, when you become involved with Weicker Realtors, the Griffin Company, they'll become your partners for life too. They've been turning houses into homes since 1978, and you can always log on and check out their selection at WeicherGriffin.com.
The doors are open, and it's a new era of elegance. Blakeman's Fine Jewelry has unveiled its stunningly redesigned 8,500 square foot showroom for an unmatched luxury experience. There's breathtaking jewelry, of course, expert service, and private viewing rooms designed for comfort. And they've got an in-house cafe with handcrafted coffee to go along with a special coffee table book celebrating Arkansas's heritage. Because it's more than jewelry, it's your story at Blakeman's Fine Jewelry. If you're having issues with your gutters or drainage around the house, you need to call Hog Trough Gutters. They're locally owned and operated with over 30 years of experience. Seamless gutters made on site, trenching and French drains. Plus, they're fully licensed and insured, and every job comes with a 20-year guarantee. Hog Trough Gutters services all of Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. Log on to their website, hoggutters.com, to find out more. That's hoggutters.com.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
I don't know what on time is for you, but yeah, you got here before the show started.
Whatever. Hey, have you ever seen anyone that takes so much pride in being the first one here?
Previously heard on Chuck and Bo.
I left the show a few minutes early yesterday. I should do that more often.
Took off.
Because I get to go evaluate our talent.
Yeah.
I know. You're really, really good.
I'm joking.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody's told you this. You can really host a show.
Well, so can you.
Yeah, I mean, I just need to get the hell out of the way sometimes.
We're better together.
But that's wow,
no doubt
isn't that
about
sweet?
that, yeah.
Did you hear? Mark it down. Put it down. Chuck was sweet.
Well.
On National High Five Day, it took about 5 minutes and he was in.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
I would resist the urge to drink this much.
Stop. I'm done.
You said a lot of good things there.
Well, I don't know if I said one good thing.
I met a guy last night. Love y'all to death, Jeff.
You mind if I share?
I'm looking forward to it.
The show of record for Razorback fans.
Driving my son to school, and first thing he says when we hop in the car, he says, let's turn on the Chuck and Bo Show.
It's too early for this kind of conversation. I'm still half asleep.
Here are your hosts, Chuck Barrett and Bo Mattingly.
You know, I got to say, I think yesterday was just about the perfect spring day. I mean, you had a little rain in the morning, you know, it's kind of cool, overcast, sun comes out, beautiful afternoon. I'm driving down the street. I see somebody in a fancy new car, moonroof open. I mean, top of the world, music blaring. I can tell, man, that guy is having a great day. And I look over and it's Bart. It's Bart. He bought a new car over the weekend, and he was out jamming around, and it was a perfect day for that.
It was.
How many miles you put on your new car this weekend?
Not too many. we're keeping it. We're keeping it low.
Did you go out and drive in the country or anything like that?
No, I haven't. But I am planning on doing that at some point this week. Yeah.
Test out that rack and pinion steering and all the other great features. Yeah. We covered a lot of ground in the first hour. If you're just hopping on, Bo, by the way, is gone, and by gone I mean he is coming back.
Allegedly.
He says he is. He's on special assignment today. Now, this was pre-scheduled before he got sick. So on the heels of I'm sick is, hey, I got a special assignment on Monday. So basically, it's turned into a 5-day weekend.
Yeah, well,
for our boy
playing the system.
So this really was scheduled like weeks ago, months ago, and believe me when I say it's high level. So it just is coincidence that it happened on the heels of Bo being sick, but he'll be back at some point. I hesitate to say he'll be back tomorrow, although that is the word on the street. So we'll look forward to that. Baseball team dropped 2 of 3 over the weekend. We discussed that some in the first hour. Some think they are done. I'm not I'm not going there yet. I think we're still a ways away. You realize when you see what's going on, and I know we're into the stretch drive, so to speak, but we're a month away from the first weekend of the 5 weeks away. We got 3 regular season series left, 3 weekends of that. Then we've got the conference tournament, and then we've got the regional. So we're 5 weeks away, I guess, from the regional. 6 from the Supers, if they make it that far, and a full 7 from the College World Series. My point is, baseball, more so than any other sport, is a game of streaks that oftentimes last 2 or 3 weeks. A real streak, whether it be a winning streak or a losing streak, it's going to run 2 or 3 weeks in baseball. And if you're going well, something will happen. Somebody will drop a pop-up and poof, it's over. You're back to being normal. Or if you're headed in the other direction, somebody will bloop a single. They'll break their bat practically and somehow muscle it out over the infield, and you'll score a run. And then the next 5 guys will get hits, and bang, you're right back where you were 6 weeks ago. Baseball's funny like that. I'm not saying that's going to happen for Arkansas. I have no idea. But I wouldn't bet against it. It's happened for Arkansas this year. It's happened for lots of other teams in the SEC this year. There's an ebb and a flow to it. But I'm not sugarcoating it either. I mean, it's been disappointing to drop series 3 straight weekends. I mean, that is disappointing. I get it. No one's more disappointed than they are, I'm sure. I'm sure it's kind of quiet on that plane coming back, if I'm guessing. Softball team had a good weekend. Took 2 of 3 at A&M. Arkansas softball's ranked 9th in the country. A&M was ranked 2nd. Razorbacks took 2 of 3. A&M won yesterday to salvage the final game. Tesla goes to the Lions. Jackson goes to the Bills. Quickly, Andrew Armstrong signs with the Dolphins. Eric Gregory, the Bengals. Tyrone Broden, the Seahawks. Danico Slaughter, the Jaguars. Jaquindon Jackson, the Jaguars. Marquise Robinson, the Ravens. Keevy Rose, the Jaguars. Hudson Clark, the Raiders, I'm sorry. Those are the guys that have signed free agent contracts. So Landon Jackson went to work right away. He was in Buffalo before the weekend was over. Hunter Henry told us it was going to be like that when we visited with him last week. All right. I don't know exactly how to get into this, so I'm just going to get into it. The governor signed a bill on Friday, a bill into law on Friday. I don't know how many of you knew this was going on. I got to admit, it flew under the radar for me. I don't know if this is a product of the demise of journalism in our state or what. Maybe everybody knew but me. I don't know. Arkansas's bill to amend its NIL law has been signed. Among other things, it allows schools to pay athletes NIL money. We knew that. Here's the part that's got people talking. Makes those payments exempt from state income tax. They don't have to pay state taxes. It also makes financial info on those payments confidential and not subject to open record requests, FOI. So long and short of it is we're not going to know what these deals are unless the people involved in the deals decide to tell us. And the NIL payments, not just to Razorbacks, but to others as well, not going to have to pay any sales tax on it. I got to be honest and say that over the weekend, I probably heard more people comment on that than I heard comment on the baseball game or the draft. Maybe not Shedeur Sanders, but everything but Shedeur Sanders.
That's milk guy.
Yeah. It's been interesting to hear the reaction because some people are torn. Some people aren't torn at all. Some people know exactly how they feel about it. I brought it up about an hour ago, just kind of brought it up. Said we're going to get into it at some point today. This is the point. But I didn't say anything more about it about an hour ago. And all you got to do is mention it. And you start getting a reaction, whether in this case it'd be text, YouTube reaction. And again, I didn't offer any thoughts. Bart didn't offer any thoughts. Edward didn't offer any thoughts. We just said it had happened. This was about an hour ago. What are the people saying as we head to the Chevy of Fayetteville Situation Room?
Yeah, Chuck, a lot of the reaction we're seeing is similar to the reaction that I have seen and heard from people throughout the weekend. Seth in South Arkansas says, I don't like it. I've busted my butt to support my family since the day I became an adult. These young kids already have six-digit deals most people will never see. That's their advantage, yet we go ahead and give them a little bit more. Mike in Bentonville said, it's totally wrong that they don't pay state income tax on NIL. What does that say about our priorities when police officers and teachers, and I could go on, who are required to pay state income tax? A couple of the comments that we've gotten so far. And more coming in as I speak. Single A in Danville.
It's incredible.
NIL is bogus. We'll say bogus. Waiting for my tax exemption. I figured that this would be the response of the majority, and based on what I've seen on social media, just heard from talking to people over the weekend. I would hazard a guess that a majority of the people in our state are not thrilled by this.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Is Arkansas the first state that, some states don't have
right? There are 9
state
states.
Income. 9 states don't have state income tax.
I know where you're going.
No NIL, nothing's taxed at a state level there. What about states where they do have state sales tax? We're one of them. Is this the first time that this has happened?
So Arkansas is the first state to pass a law that exempts NIL funds specifically from state income tax.
Did you guys know this was going on? I didn't. I mean, I'm going to be honest. When I saw it, I knew it had been discussed.
It was kind of a Friday news dump situation. Like you
That's
could
how
tell
it
they were
works.
trying to get it keep it under the radar.
That's
because this was going to be the reaction.
A
from the
Friday
people in the
news
state.
dump is when you have a story that you know is going to be rather controversial, and you announce it or basically do the deed on Friday afternoon after most people, or Friday morning after most people have checked out for the week, so to speak, with the idea that it's going to go through the weekend, and by the time we get around to next week, people aren't going to be talking about it as much. And they may be right. They may be right. This strategy in this instance may work perfectly. I don't know. See, here's the deal. Here's the deal. If we're honest, today the reaction is going to be overwhelmingly negative. It is.
Yeah.
What's going to happen when they get that recruit? The guy that's going to sign $1 million contract. He doesn't have to, and there are guys making $1 million. When he doesn't have to pay state sales tax. And his financial advisors at 18 tell him, hey, this is something you might need to consider. What's our reaction going to be then?
I think it's still going to be a lot of what we're seeing today.
Do you?
People don't like when you mess with their pocketbooks.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing with that.
And when you are when you're doing something like this, and it comes across to a lot of people as a slap in the face. It comes across as hey, you don't care about the hardworking Arkansans who are doing the jobs and bringing money into this state, and you're gonna exempt kids, a lot of whom are coming from outside the state of Arkansas and are coming to Arkansas, making money in Arkansas, and then they don't have to contribute to the state income tax pool.
I think more in terms of kids who are working at Taco Bell paying their way through college.
Yeah.
That's who I think about.
Yeah.
But I also know that there is another side to this, and it points directly at the distasteful nature of what some of this NIL stuff really is. When we talk about it, it's just 3 letters, NIL. We talk about money and big money like it's nothing, because we're used to talking about big money contracts with pro players, and we've become desensitized to how much money really is being tossed around. Now there's also, and we're going to head to a break and then open the phones. There are also, for every one student athlete out there that's making high 6 figures or 7 figures, there's 5 of them that aren't, maybe more. They're getting a rude awakening on some things. And if you're one of these guys that, let's say you're making $100,000. All right, now I know that's a lot of money. But by comparison, in the NIL world, it's not a huge sum. Well, I mean, taxes are a real deal at that point. And, I mean, you're not, anybody that gets 1099 money knows. I mean, the rate there is pretty significant. So for them, it's a different story. You're not talking about a whole lot of money anyway, but principally, I'm talking about with the lower guys, not the higher guys. Principally, I know it rubs a lot of people the wrong way. 9 states right now, as we've said, do not have state income tax. Arkansas, based on what I read, has a pretty good chance of becoming the 10th. This may all be a moot point a year from now, because it seems as though that's the direction we're headed. I know that's a different issue. And I'm not going to delve off into that. But it's just something that I thought was interesting over the weekend, because I didn't know it was going to happen. And that's not to say that, it was done in secret. Just because I didn't know doesn't mean it was done in secret. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it surprised me. And some of the responses that I got surprised me too. All right, we're going to head to the phones when we come back. We got callers coming in. I knew we would. 877-377-6963. Your thoughts after the break. 7:17. This is the Chuck and Bo Show.
Chuck, you've been around a while, and look, I don't mean that ugly, and Bo, you've been around not as long as Chuck.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
It seems like everything is more expensive this year, but replacing your AC doesn't have to be. If you need to replace your AC this summer, before you commit, price check with Paschal. You can save money and use the professionals to replace your system. Enjoy the peace of mind knowing you chose the best option for your home. Visit gopaschal.com and with just a few clicks, see how much you can save with the Paschal Price Check. Paschal Air, Plumbing, and Electric.
Guys, regardless of our age, feeling good is something we all want. That's what the Sweat No Edge is all about. It's where health, confidence, and peak performance come together. We all face challenges like low energy, hair loss, who's looking at me, stubborn weight, and skin health. The good news is we can do something about it. Get your free evaluation today and see where you are. Chuck and I have both done it and are better off for it. Log on to sweatnomecosmetic.com and click on the Sweat No Edge.
First Security is about more than great banking. Yes, we provide the financial expertise, digital tools, and everything else you need when you need it. But we also go all in on local support with friendly professionals, plus convenient locations all across the state. Because we believe personal banking is better banking. Visit fsbank.com for details. That's fsbank.com for friendly, local banking with First Security. Bank better. Member FDIC.
There's simply not a better shopping experience than Macadoodles. Looking for the best selection of beer, wine, and spirits? Macadoodles or Guess Who in Bentonville has you covered. With an unbeatable selection, amazing prices, and service that's unbeatable, they've got everything you need. Whether you're stocking up for a party, updating your bar, or just grabbing your favorites, Roger and the team are always there to help. Make the smart choice. Macadoodles, just north of Bella Vista at the state line, and Guess Who in Bentonville.
There's nothing like a college football Saturday, a few beers, your phone, and Twitter.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
mean, look, we get up early. It's a 6 a.m. start here.
I wear the same thing every day.
You and I have like Jay Leno outfits.
I know,
we wear
that's
in
right.
Here. Yeah.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
Hey, if you guys don't mind, from this point forward, I would like my pay to come under the heading of NIL payment. So,
you and everybody in the state.
if we could recategorize that would be great. We can all just, this is an NIL deal that we all have. I wonder if people are going to try to find a way around this. All right, 877-377-6963. Let's go to the phones. Melvin is in Sheridan. Melvin, you were on the Chuck and Bo Show. Good morning. Well, we had Melvin. We have Melvin now? Melvin gone? All right, let's go to Rod on I-40. Rod, you're on the Chuck and Bo Show.
Good morning, Mr. Barrett.
Hey, Rod, what's up?
I think it's time to get a cut out of Bo.
You think what now?
It's time to get a cut out of Bo and put in the studio with you guys. Since he's AOL.
I got you.
Rod's saying he doesn't like seeing me on the broadcast.
I understand that. We maybe we do need a cut out of Bo. I've still got the gone fishing sign from when I was out here. We don't know where Bo is. I mean, Bo's disappeared.
Brits, when they say gone fishing, they mean you've gone around the bend, right? Actually, this NIL state tax thing, this governor, I think, was the same governor that promised us she would work hard in her first term to eliminate everybody's state tax, and yet I'm still paying thousands a year on this state tax thing, and I can't get an NIL. Heck, if I was on image on TV, it'd break the camera, right? So,
well,
just a thought.
It's I have mixed feelings on it. I'm going to be very honest with you. I have mixed feelings on it. Alabama's going to pass a similar law, and so is Georgia, and so is Louisiana, and Tennessee already has no state sales tax. Texas has no state sales tax, and Florida has no state sales tax. I think that's all
income tax.
Income tax, not sales, income. No, there's a difference. They'll get you on the sales tax part. That's where they're going to make their money up. Don't think you're going to have more money at the end of the year. You're just going to pay it in a different category when you get right down to it. Rod, thanks for your call. I do understand that from a competitive standpoint, this will be used either against a school or in favor of a school. It's going to come up. I mean, when we discussed the Maleva kids ad nauseum last week, what did we bring up repeatedly? The tax rate in California, how dollar doesn't go as far. We brought it up over and over and over again. So to say that it doesn't come up, pretty naive. It does come up. And it just depends, I guess, on which side of the fence you find yourself on. JR's in Shady Grove. JR, you're on the Chuck and Bo Show.
Morning, guys.
Hey, JR.
I just caught the tail end of what you were talking about, but is my understanding correct that there's no transparency in the deals and the money they're getting? Is that correct?
Well, the word transparency was not used, but under the law, essentially, that's basically what it is. They don't have to disclose the financial information. Makes financial info on those payments confidential.
It's not subject to the
not
freedom
subject
of
to
the
open record laws. Yeah.
Is it? But it's not through the university; it's through the foundation. Is that correct?
I'm not following you there. One more time.
Is it? It's not through the university; it's through the foundation. Is that correct?
What is?
What are you talking about there? You mean the money?
The money, the revenue. Yeah, the revenue sharing. Is that going to be through the foundation or is that through the university?
The universities will pay the revenue share.
Okay.
Now the foundation raises the money. I'm not sure what you're driving at.
Well, the universities are public funded. It's publicly funded by the state of Arkansas, correct?
Not
University of Arkansas.
Not the athletic department. And this money's
they don't get they don't get any.
This money, JR, stop. This money is all privately raised. This money is going to be privately raised, and that's why
everything that you do right now related to the Razorbacks and every other program out there costs more than it once did, because they're the ones that are going to be responsible for paying it. So it's not coming from tax money, I guess, to answer your question.
I just think it would be better if it was transparent. I mean, the coaches are transparent. I mean, they have that's all, you know, we can see what we're buying, I guess, for lack of better terms, since we really don't, the average fan doesn't have a say in it. They can at least know what they're getting paid. So that's my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, JR. That's an interesting thought. I mean, people are going to focus on the tax part of it, and I get that. The other part is that, it's not going to be subject to the Freedom of Information law. I don't know that coaches' contracts are really as transparent as we might think. We hear reports of how much a coach is making. Most of the time, we hear a max figure that includes the possibility of bonus money. You don't always hear that minimum figure. What happens if they don't? So I'm not sure we really know exactly how much coaches are making. We've got an idea. Sometimes their agents let us know. The contracts, we see those. Those are subject to the Freedom of Information. But I'm not sure that we fully understand a lot of the foundation type money that coaches get, at any rate. I think if we're honest about this, what we really want to do is just know. I mean, we just want to know. We've gotten some text to this effect today, and this is going to be the net effect of all this, is that fans are going to continue to demand more out of players. They're going to feel more. They're going to feel more rightful to boo. They're going to feel that it's within their full rights to say anything that they want. Because, by God, I'm paying taxes. They're not. I can hear it now. So can you. May have already said it. And big picture, I'm beginning to get a little concerned that the pendulum is swinging against the players. And I'm concerned about that. And I think the administrators that are involved in the game need to be paying attention to that. Just think about what's happened around here the last 10 days. First, it was Nico. Boy, he felt the wrath. And then it was Madden. He felt the wrath. University's going after that money. By God, that $200,000, we're going to get it. People not pro-player. Now all of a sudden, man, they're not having to pay taxes either. I mean, at least the coaches are paying taxes. But I do wonder, and worry may be too strong a word, but I see for the first time public sentiment moving away from the "these are kids" perspective into "these are professional grown men, and I'm going to treat them that way." They're getting advantages I'm not getting. And I'm going to let them know about that. They're into, and I mean, this is what happens when you make it all about the millions, all about the Benjamins, so to speak. This is what happens. And I'm concerned about that because I think when we get away, and I know this sounds naive, and I know that a lot of the innocence has already been lost, but there's still some out there. When you hear like Landon Jackson, the cut we heard a little bit earlier, when you hear kids after games and you feel that emotion just spill out, there's still an innocence to it. It's covered up right now. And I would hate it if we get to a point where we feel free to just say and do anything to a 19 or 20-year-old because they're not paying state sales taxes and we are. And don't think that thought's not already out there. And don't think that people haven't already said that, because they have. I've heard them in just a short amount of time. All right, 877-377-6963. Back with more in a moment. This is the Chuck and Bo Show, 7:32. Good morning.
You guys are part of my family. Everyone that listens to this show is just part of the Chuck and Bo family. We're building a community here.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
If you haven't tried a flight by Yuengling, you're missing out on the great taste of Yuengling that is a light beer. It's the next generation of light beer. Get it on draft, in the can, the new skinny cans, and now the new 16-ounce resealable twist-off aluminum bottle. Perfect for any occasion. It's just 95 calories, and you're still enjoying a Yuengling. Take your beer game to new heights with Flight by Yuengling, the next generation of light beer.
Oaklawn is your hot springs escape. Enjoy plush comfort, upscale dining, and Arkansas's only Forbes 4-star rated spa at our luxury hotel. And with easy access to Hot Springs National Park and sparkling lakes, Oaklawn is your home base for everything the region has to offer. Come stay, play, and get away at Oaklawn, a Forbes Travel Guide recommended hotel. Make your reservation at oaklawn.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
When is the last time you thought, oh, the SEC's making an announcement today, and it's going to be good for the Hogs?
The Chuck and Bo Show.
we keep threatening to show behind the scenes live on the stream, it's going to happen someday. We're all going to get fired for it. There's just like total chaos.
It's mayhem around here. It really is.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
Hey, if you're dealing with a personal injury, if you're struggling to get your Social Security disability, or if you're just drowning in debt, call the team that fights for Arkansans. Bill Reynolds and the attorneys at Cadell Reynolds know how to get results when it matters most. From car wrecks to denied disability claims to filing for bankruptcy, they've got your back, so don't face it alone. Call Cadell Reynolds at 866-314-3728 or visit them at CadellReynolds.com for a free consultation. Cadell Reynolds, make the right call. All right, back to the phones. Donnie is in Rogers. Donnie, thanks for waiting. You're on the Chuck and Bo Show.
You bet, Chuck. And I was telling the young man there, I appreciate you guys bringing the subject up. And I'm wondering, not necessarily against this deal for the players to get this opportunity. I mean, I'm down here working today. You're working. We're paying income tax. We're paying taxes in the state. Pay tax on about everything. But if this is going to be a commitment to these players, then should there not be a return to those players and a commitment to the university instead of coming in here, getting that big paycheck for 1 year, and then, well, I'm going to jump in the portal at the end of the year, leave the fans hanging because there's no loyalty or commitment to the university. Now, all of a sudden, they ought to be locked into some contracts because, to me, whenever we talk about this stuff, we talk about recruits. But the biggest subject is always the coaches, bringing these name coaches, bringing in these coaches to win these things. These coaches aren't getting this deal. I know they're getting paid. I don't know that right now the money is big on both ends, but I've seen it in the coaches too, where a lot of coaches don't show loyalty to the university. The next big thing that comes up, they bolt and they leave those players hanging. So I can understand why the players are selfish because sometimes it's with the other end. The coaches are selfish. But if you're going to come to a state, and Arkansas is not the highest income state in the country, and where these people are paying taxes, working hard, and you get this privilege, you are afforded this privilege to come to this university or any university in the state for that matter and perform for the fans, you should commit to a number of years or whatever that contract states, in my opinion, so that way we could enjoy these athletes longer than, say, maybe a year, and then they're gone. To me, that's just a point of it. If they're going to get the benefit, then they should have to pay some deal to keep the animosity of the fans. Like you said, you could turn against the players because now they're all of a sudden paid professional athletes. And what are we getting for our money? And that's just a thought I had on it.
I appreciate your call, Donnie. Thank you. As I was listening to Donnie and as I was thinking about this during the break, if you're an adult, say you're 40, 50, 60, you've been paying taxes your whole life. You've felt the real hit. Now, obviously not so much at the state level as opposed to the federal level, but you've felt the hit over the years. Your viewpoint is going to be, I'm not going to say jaded, but it's certainly going to be affected by that. Think back to when you were 18, 19, 20 years old. What you knew about taxes. Probably very minimal. If you were one of the lucky ones, you were raised in a home with financial literacy. But let's not be naive and think that every guy that or woman that comes to play college athletics somewhere has had that same benefit. Some of them are just flat out clueless. And as I mentioned earlier, the vast majority are not getting these huge contracts. But now let me say this, and I want to point this out just from a purely devil's advocate standpoint. We give tax breaks, huge tax breaks, much, much bigger tax breaks to companies that come into our state and do business. We do it under the cloak sometimes of creating jobs, but a lot of those companies come into our state and they get significant tax breaks because they are viewed as an asset to our state. Well, are the Razorbacks an asset to our state?
Are the players that put on that uniform an asset to our state? You could certainly make that argument. I'm not saying it's a winning argument, but I'm saying you could make it. So it's not as though, let's just be honest, if you're Johnny Lunchbucket out there, and I include myself in this, we've been getting screwed for years and years and years. It's not like this is the first time somebody's avoided paying taxes and we hadn't. That's happened before. It'll probably happen again. This is a tough one. It's a tough one. I know for some people it's not tough at all. It's tough for me because I do understand that recruiting is cutthroat, and sometimes things like this do matter. Sometimes they matter a lot. Melvin's back with us in Sheridan. Melvin, welcome to the program. Good morning.
Well, listening to that last statement, that sports program, all the sports programs in Arkansas are more important than the common everyday working man's, what you just said. And it's not you, what they said. And if y'all don't think there's going to be repercussions for this, there's going to be people lose them powerful political seats. You don't poop on the Arkansas worker like that, especially for a football team no better than that is. Did anybody get drafted off that team?
Couple of them did. Couple of them did, yes, sir.
Out of how many?
Oh, they got
That's
a bunch.
my point.
No, I understand what you're saying. That
football team is terrible, and it ain't going to be no better this year. And you keep on asking for more and more and more. Do y'all know this is killing my Razorback spirit? It is killing it completely. Only thing that I give a crap about is that basketball team, because they got people that are players and are somebody, and the rest of them are all make-believe.
Melvin,
thank you for my time.
All right, thank you for your call. I do want to point out that, just to be blunt, the athletes on the campus that are going to benefit the most from this, many of them play on our men's basketball team. So, we got to talk out of both sides of our mouth there. I'm against this. There's going to be repercussions, but the only ones I'm for are the basketball players. They're benefiting the most, if you want to get right down to it. At least some of them are. But I think what Melvin said there, I'm just gonna say it. I think a lot of old boys around the state are saying the same thing this morning. Yeah, I think you can go to a lot of diners in our state right now, and a lot of people are saying it just like Melvin just did. And I also know that there are places where this is going to be applauded. I know that too. And as I said earlier, one of these days, it may help Arkansas get a player. We may not feel so bad about it then. I do think, and I'm not going to delve off into full-blown politics here, but I read and I keep up as much as anybody, I think, and it sounds like none of us are going to be paying state sales tax before too much longer. State income tax. I'm sorry. I keep saying that. I'm sorry. Income tax. It sounds like that's going to happen at some point. But for right now, it's just these guys. And I want to get to some of these texts. Bart, I know you're keeping up with them. We'll read them after the break. Stay with us. This is the Chuck and Bo Show. Good morning.
I got to be honest, and I may offend some people here, and I don't. It's fine.
You've done it before.
Well, probably a few minutes ago.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
Buying or selling a home's a big deal, and you want someone who is with you every step of the way. That's why those of us at the Chuck and Bo Show wholeheartedly recommend Weicker Realtors, the Griffin Company, because we've experienced it. They've been my partners for life. They're Bo's partner now, and I promise you, when you become involved with Weicker Realtors, the Griffin Company, they'll become your partners for life too. They've been turning houses into homes since 1978, and you can always log on and check out their selection at WeicherGriffin.com.
I'm Dr. Scotty Bolding, a native Arkansan oral and maxillofacial surgeon. One of my goals is to make Arkansans healthier. If you have sleep disorder breathing, it's important to treat it properly. The standard treatment's a breathing machine called CPAP. It helps you breathe during the night. However, there are other options thanks to some truly innovative and proven technologies. Sleep is probably God's gift of medicine that we really don't utilize enough. If you have obstructive sleep apnea, it needs to be treated. So you need to be wearing your CPAP. So if you're not wearing your CPAP, there are some potential surgical solutions that can help you that actually work today. By correcting the jaw deformities that may be causing this obstructive sleep apnea is where we focus. Dr. Bolding at Precedent Center for Facial and Dental Medicine works carefully with your sleep physician, determines where the underlying obstruction may be, and provides surgical solutions that open the airway, allowing you to breathe better. Hey, give us a call, 479-755-3000, or log on to our website, precedent.com, PRECIDENT. We'd love to help.
We care a lot about supporting Arkansas businesses here on the Chuck and Bo Show, and we both like keeping our rides looking good. Splash Car Wash just became our new neighbors here in Fayetteville. They're a locally owned Arkansas business, and they've been serving the state since 1989. They're good folks, and you can get a free car wash by texting Splash Arkansas to 22322. That's Splash Arkansas to 22322.
Hey, it's Bo Mattingly, and McDonald Eye Associates is my one-stop for any vision need. The progressives they have me in are a game changer, and my new sunglasses are going to be great for baseball season. McDonald Eye was the first practice in the state to perform LASIK, and they have the most experience. They also have the new vision correction options for all ages, including cataract and clear lens replacement to see your best from all distances. For your best vision, McDonald Eye is the place to go.
Arkansas's one-stop automotive shop is right around the corner. Fayetteville Auto Park. FayettevilleAutoPark.com. Chevy, Toyota, Honda, Acura, Collision Center, all in one place. And if you're shopping pre-owned, Fayetteville Auto Park has you covered. With so many new cars sold, we always have a great selection of fresh trades. Why settle for anything less than the best? Fayetteville Auto Park, West Showroom Drive in Fayetteville. Proud sponsor of the Chuck and Bo Show.
Yeah, does Chuck sleep that much? Because it just sometimes...
He's old, so when you get old, you don't really sleep as much.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
I actually found this thing on my phone that, you go in and it allows you to, like, cancel all your subscriptions to all the stupid things you've subscribed to.
Yeah. Was it liberating?
I improved my monthly budget by leaps and bounds.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
Hey, you're just talking about Splash Car Wash a lot on the Chuck and Bo Show. Bart has a new ride. And I got a feeling you and Splash Car Wash, which is right next door to the palatial Chuck and Bo Show studios.
We're going to be best friends.
I would have. Now, you got to remember to close that fancy moonroof.
I know.
Do you call it a moonroof or sunroof?
No, it's a full sunroof. Like
really?
Full retractable, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Front to back?
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
Automatic, too. You just press a button.
Yeah. Did you have it open when you drove in this morning?
I sure did.
Man. Hey, I mentioned this in the first hour.
Felt great.
Like, when you pull into our parking lot here, now, as you can imagine, this studio is as nice as it gets. And but the parking lot, rough in spots, let's just say.
Sure.
There's the common area.
Mm-hmm.
There's the special Bo parking spot reserved for Bo. And then there's this parking cove over here where you can kind of pull in
spot.
And you're protected. You're protected.
Yeah.
You don't have people pulling in beside you. And you don't have people like dinging the side of your car.
That's right.
And I noticed this morning, I pulled in, I'm thinking, okay, Bart's shiny new ride's going to be right out there front and center. But no, it was parked in the private drive.
It's in the cove.
It's parked in the private drive.
It's in the premium producer parking.
Yeah.
And with Bo gone to God knows where, his parking spot was open. So I am Bo for a day.
There you
now
go.
look,
How's that feel?
Well, my ride's not nearly as big as Bo's. I mean, Bo's got that monster truck out
got a
there.
big old truck.
I tend to deal more in the the middle-size SUV thing, but it was a nice feeling, pulling into that spot that normally is reserved for Bo. I digress because I was talking about Splash Car Wash, and. You can get a free car wash from Splash by texting 22322. That's 22322. We talk a lot about Arkansas companies. We like doing business with Arkansas companies. Doesn't mean if you're not from Arkansas, you don't like doing business with you too, but we're kind of partial. We like to support Arkansas businesses. We both, me and Bo, and now Bart and Edward, everybody likes keeping their car looking good. Splash Car Wash, our new neighbors. Bart's new best friends because he's got a brand new car and it's going to look good every day. All right, Bo is away on special assignment today on the heels of being sick. This was pre-planned. The sickness was not. It just kind of all ran together. So we think Bo will be back tomorrow. Not certain, but at some point he'll be back. All right, we got callers on the line. We're going to get to all of you, I promise. 877-377-6963. Good morning. If you've been hurt in a car wreck, if you're struggling to get your Social Security disability, or you're buried in debt thinking about bankruptcy, don't wait. You need a legal team that knows how to fight for Arkansans.
That's why you can trust Cadell Reynolds. Bill Reynolds and his team know how to get results when it matters most. Whether it's personal injury, disability, or bankruptcy, they've got the experience and they've got your back.
So don't go it alone. Make the right call. Dial 866-314-3728 or visit CadellReynolds.com today.
Oaklawn is your hot springs escape. Enjoy plush comfort, upscale dining, and Arkansas's only Forbes 4-star rated spa at our luxury hotel. And with easy access to Hot Springs National Park and sparkling lakes, Oaklawn is your home base for everything the region has to offer. Come stay, play, and get away at Oaklawn, a Forbes Travel Guide recommended hotel. Make your reservation at oaklawn.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
The doors are open, and it's a new era of elegance. Blakeman's Fine Jewelry has unveiled its stunningly redesigned 8,500 square foot showroom for an unmatched luxury experience. There's breathtaking jewelry, of course, expert service, and private viewing rooms designed for comfort. And they've got an in-house cafe with handcrafted coffee to go along with a special coffee table book celebrating Arkansas's heritage. Because it's more than jewelry, it's your story at Blakeman's Fine Jewelry.
Hey, you can beat inflation and upgrade your ride at Chevy of Fayetteville. Right now, drive home a brand new Chevy Silverado, Blazer, Equinox EV, or the Tough 2500 with rates as low as 1.9% APR. Plus, take advantage of huge discounts and get top dollar for your trade-in. Go see Chris, Mark, and Denver at Chevy of Fayetteville, where the deals are big and the road ahead is even better. Chevy of Fayetteville. Let's drive.
Good morning, Smack Daddy. What's happening?
What's up, Bald Brotherhood?
There you go.
The Chuck and Bo Show. Previously heard on Chuck and Bo.
That yell stuff, that yell leader stuff is the weirdest crap I've ever seen. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen another human do.
I'll tell you what's really weird, too, is
Maybe
watching
I'm
them
sheltered.
practice. They practice before the games outside the stadium.
If that was happening out front of Circle K this morning at 5:40 or whatever when you're coming in here and you saw that happen, you would call the authorities.
Every time I see it, I expect people to start drinking Kool-Aid and just falling out. I mean, it is nuts.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
I would resist the urge to drink this morning.
Stop. I'm done.
You said a lot of good things there.
Well, I don't know if I said one good thing.
I met a guy last night. Love y'all to death, Jeff.
You mind if I share?
I'm looking forward to it.
The show of record for Razorback fans.
Driving my son to school, and first thing he says when we hop in the car, he says, "Let's turn on the Chuck and Bo Show."
It's too early for this kind of conversation. I'm still half asleep.
Here are your hosts, Chuck Barrett and Bo Mattingly.
I think the 7 o'clock hour just flew by. I'm going to snap my fingers and bang. It's 8:03. We're back on the Chuck and Bo Show. We're glad you're here. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Let's have a week, okay?
Yeah.
Let's have a week.
Absolutely.
I'm in.
Around here. You guys in?
Let's
All
do
right,
it.
we're going to have a week.
I'm in.
Here on the Chuck and Bo Show. Bo is on special assignment today. Very special assignment. And this was pre-planned. Bo has not quit. We did not get in a fight. There's not been a dust-up. Nothing's happened. Nobody said I'm leaving and never coming back. None of that's happened. Bo was legitimately sick last week. At least that's what he says. And we have no choice but to believe him. And today was pre-planned. He said, "Hey, man, I got a special assignment." And I said, "Well, what's the assignment?" He said, "It's special." And so we didn't go any further. And
assignment.
Bo will be back tomorrow. That is the word on the street. And we'll look forward to his return. It was an eventful weekend. Let me recap just for a second, and then we'll get back to the matter at hand. Baseball team dropped 2 of 3 at Florida. Lost Friday night. Stomped them on Saturday. And then lost yesterday. Florida won the series. Razorbacks are tied for second still in the SEC, although Texas is a pretty distant first. They're 5 up on Arkansas and LSU. Is that right, Bart? 5 up on Arkansas and LSU.
That's right.
And Texas comes in this weekend. If you got some thoughts on baseball, we'll get into that. Softball took 2 of 3 at A&M. Big weekend for them. 9th-ranked Arkansas, 2nd-ranked A&M. A&M won yesterday to salvage the final game of the series. Arkansas had already clinched the series with victories in the first couple of games. I don't know if you heard, but Shedeur Sanders did not get drafted on Friday, or Thursday either, for that matter, and ultimately got drafted on Saturday. Thank God. I was worried, and I know many of you were as well. I thought I thought ESPN was going to go under. You know, I mean, Friday night, it was like they staked their entire financial future on Shedeur Sanders being drafted in the first round. And, of course, that didn't happen. Landon Jackson goes to the Bills. Isaac Tesla, the first Razorback taken to the Lions. A slew of others have signed free agent deals. But this tax thing, this kind of flew under the radar, which may have been by design, on Friday. When we'd already, at least I had, checked out mentally. I mean, when 9 o'clock rolls around Friday morning, I'm going to be honest with you, boys. I'm out. I don't think about you guys. So the day progresses, and we find out that the governor has signed a bill into law that, among other things, makes NIL payments to student athletes exempt from state income tax, and it makes financial info on those payments confidential and not subject to open record requests. Now, when I read that, I thought, oh boy, here we go. There are 2 schools of thought on this, and this is one of those situations, Bart. If I was a lawyer, I'd take the money from either side. I'd take your case, whichever side you were on, because I can make your argument for you. I know there are a lot of people in the state that are not happy about this. We've heard from them in the 7 o'clock hour. It's amazing. We have the text line here. This is one of those issues that people may not say it out loud, although we've had plenty of callers who did. Melvin was so excited, he even called back
just to make sure Edward understood his point.
We had a good conversation.
I know you did. You had a longer conversation off the air than we had on the air. And as I said when his call concluded, that I have no doubt that everything he just said has been repeated this morning in diners all over our state. I don't have any doubt about that at all. I would say on our text line, the reason that I say that is it's 90% of the text we've gotten today.
It's 9-1, yeah.
9-1. We've got more text today than we've gotten in a long time for a show. I'm just going to tell you that. The caller volume's been about the same. The text line has gone nuts. And I know it's because, again, you may not say it out loud, but you'll bang it into your phone.
And then we'll say it for you.
And we'll say it for you, at least some of them. But I have been I'm not going to sit here and tell you I've been surprised because that's not true. But it's kind of reinforced what I thought when I read this Friday. I'm going to go to the phones again in just a second, but I want to go to the Situation Room, the Chevy of Fayetteville Situation Room. Bart, tell me what the people are saying.
Yeah, Matt in Baldwin says, tax-free income, just another blow to the fan base. Started with ticket reassignment in baseball, now basketball. The little man keeps getting squeezed. Oh, yeah, the professional athletes will get booed. Josh said, these kids enter adulthood in the top 3% earners, some 1%, and don't owe the state or anyone anything. Bad design. And then here's Eric's text. Honestly, every move over the last few years has alienated the players from the fans and vice versa. I don't have the same investment because you never get time to know anyone. The days of personal interest stories of home state heroes are gone. The fans are still Razorbacks, but everyone knows the players are simply on the Razorback team.
Well, there's 2 or 3 different arguments in there. I mean, upset about the sales tax, seat reassignment, all that stuff. Kind of, different topics there. But it kind of goes back to what Melvin said a little bit earlier. And he said, my enthusiasm. I'm paraphrasing. He says, my enthusiasm is not what it once was. And that, to me, is one of the things you got to think about. Now, I also have been around this long enough to understand this, too. Enthusiasm is dependent upon winning. Melvin also said the only team I'm enthused by right now is the Razorback basketball team. Well, there are no student athletes on that campus, and there are no student athletes in the state of Arkansas that are going to benefit more than some of our basketball players. That's where the money is. And I'm not knocking it. I'm just stating it as a simple fact. They're going to benefit probably the most, but yet someone who's dead set against this is enthused about basketball. Well, why? Because they're winning, of course. That's plays a big role in this, too. I'll just put it that way. All right, Brent's been kind enough to wait. Brent, good morning. You are on the Chuck and Bo Show. We got Brent. Well, Brent was there.
Let's check on him and try that again.
All right. Do we think we have him?
I think Edward and I clicked the air button at the same time.
Oh, okay.
I think.
You think that's what happened?
I think that's what happened. I think it locked the line.
Okay. No. All right.
Okay.
Well, never mind then. All right. Well, but it's just been interesting. It's just been interesting to hear those comments from people because my concern from a big picture standpoint is that we have gravitated from these are kids to these are full-grown adults, and I'm going to judge them in the same way I judge any other adult. All right, Brent's back with us. Brent, sorry about that. You're on the Chuck and Bo Show.
Oh, Chuck, that was all my fault this morning. I got 3 questions for you, Chuck. I don't understand the free fall that our baseball team we got going right now. We're getting nothing from our starting pitching, and
get to the important stuff.
We're just making bad mistakes.
right now, and Florida robs us from a home run. Could have tied it up. They jumped the fence. And on a funny note, has Kevin O'Sullivan changed his coaching shirt? Has he changed his hoodie in about 13 years? Because it looks like the same one. He just have you noticed that?
Well, no, but I'll watch more closely. But yeah, they. Hey, I like the days when you made a coach wear a full uni, but that's just me.
And on to this no tax for student athletes in Arkansas. Another decision, but Governor Sanders. We won't go there. But if you're going to play big boy games and have big boy money, you have to pay state tax. That's all I can say about that.
All right, thank you, Brent. And I don't think that's the minority sentiment. Similar proposals are being bandied about in Georgia, Alabama, and Louisiana. Florida doesn't have state income tax. Texas doesn't have state income tax. Tennessee doesn't have state income tax. And I don't know how much this plays in recruiting or not. If you're making big money, though, I would think it's a factor. One of the things that gets lost in the shuffle sometimes is these kids don't have the living expenses that even professional athletes have. If you're a professional athlete, I mean, you got to buy your own house. Or you got to,
rent or whatever.
Pay
for food.
Pay your utility bills, all that stuff. In college, it's pretty much all done for you. Man. So you're leaving without any debt, and consequently, that's something that you can't even describe what that would mean. I mean, parents who've paid for your kids' college. I mean, the opportunity for them to come out debt-free is that's incredible. Much less you got, and then on top of that, you got a whole bunch of money in your pocket.
We got a text here from Mike that takes kind of the other side.
All right, I want to hear that.
He says, why are people so upset about the income tax exemption? It's just pure jealousy. They're not paying taxes. Doesn't cost us, the fan, anything, nothing. We gripe about the edge. We gripe about higher ticket prices. We gripe about everything that costs us more. But yet we still want to get the best players. This is not a great way to draw in good. This is a great way to draw in good players and not cost the fans one penny. Well, Mike, I want to say this carefully.
You got 2 minutes. Go ahead. Let her rip.
Mike, that seems a little out of touch with reality. The reason people are mad is because it's exempting these student athletes, these pro athletes, whatever you want to call them now, from paying state income tax while neglecting the hardworking citizens of the state. The people who work in industry, the teachers, the police officers, the firefighters, doctors, whoever, you, me, all of us, we don't get that exemption. So why should they? It comes across. This is why people are mad, because it comes across as a slap in the face, as insulting and unfair to the hardworking people of our state, and not to mention the people who worked to pay their way through college. They had to pay income tax. Why don't athletes? It's just not fair. That's why, Mike. That's why people are upset about it. It's not fair. And when you start affecting people's pocketbooks, people get upset. That's the bottom line.
All right, we got to hit a break. 877-377-6963. Back to the phones in a moment. This is the Chuck and Bo Show. Good morning.
You know, it's like when you try to take a picture of this amazing thing you see, and you look at the picture you take in your phone, and it's not the same. Like what it looks like
every time I take a selfie.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
If you're having issues with your gutters or drainage around the house, you need to call Hog Trough Gutters. They're locally owned and operated with over 30 years of experience. Seamless gutters made on site, trenching and French drains. Plus, they're fully licensed and insured, and every job comes with a 20-year guarantee. Hog Trough Gutters services all of Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. Log on to their website, hoggutters.com, to find out more. That's hog, GUTTERS.com.
First Security is about more than great banking. Yes, we provide the financial expertise, digital tools, and everything else you need when you need it. But we also go all in on local support with friendly professionals, plus convenient locations all across the state. Because we believe personal banking is better banking. Visit fsbank.com for details. That's fsbank.com for friendly, local banking with First Security. Bank better. Member FDIC.
Buying or selling a home's a big deal, and you want someone who is with you every step of the way. That's why those of us at the Chuck and Bo Show wholeheartedly recommend Weicker Realtors, the Griffin Company, because we've experienced it. They've been my partners for life. They're Bo's partner now, and I promise you, when you become involved with Weicker Realtors, the Griffin Company, they'll become your partners for life too. They've been turning houses into homes since 1978, and you can always log on and check out their selection at WeicherGriffin.com.
It seems like everything is more expensive this year, but replacing your AC doesn't have to be. If you need to replace your AC this summer, before you commit, price check with Paschal. You can save money and use the professionals to replace your system. Enjoy the peace of mind knowing you chose the best option for your home. Visit GoPaschal.com and with just a few clicks, see how much you can save with the Paschal price check. Paschal Air, Plumbing, and Electric.
You know, I want Texas to lose. Yeah, I want them to rot in hell.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
Good morning, gentlemen. How's
Eddie.
that recipe smelling?
Smells
out
great.
in the Chase Center.
It smells awesome.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
8:21 Monday morning on the Chuck and Bo Show. We got callers on the line. 877-377-6963. And let's go to Texarkana. Danny's on the line there. Danny, you're on the Chuck and Bo Show.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
I can hear you well. Yes, sir, I can.
Yeah, I guess me being in Texarkana, I guess the border city tax exemption, but to me, it don't affect what anybody else brings home from their check. So why would anybody be upset by somebody else that tax?
Danny, I may have spoken too soon. I can't hear you. It sounded like he was at a truck stop, kind of watching.
Or going through a car wash.
I got the gist, I think, of what Danny was saying. He's in a border town, so they're exempt, if I'm not mistaken. I think somebody from Texarkana can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they're exempt from some of the stuff down there. Maybe sales tax. I don't know about income tax. I don't know how that works, but I know that when you're in a border town, there are some exemptions that you get that maybe others in other parts of the state don't, because you don't want people, crossing the border to do their business. So I understand that. I was a little bit lost once we got past that, because I couldn't really understand what he was saying. If you break this down, and let's fast forward a year from now, I suspect that state income tax is going to be abolished in Arkansas across the board. That's I don't want to say that's been the promise, but it's certainly been the talk. And some of this will be abated. But until then, the guys that are going to bear the brunt of this, people's anger, guys like Melvin and basically every text that we've gotten today, the people that are going to feel the anger are the players. When a highly paid player who's not paying state income tax, because that's how people are going to say it. Don't kid yourself. That's what people are going to say. The first time he drops a pass or misses a shot or strikes out with the bases loaded, nobody's going to say, that state legislature, that governor, I just can't stand that governor. I just can't stand those state legislators. They're not going to say that. They're going to say, how much are we paying that guy? He doesn't even have to pay taxes. And then they're going to go off on some riff about all their years in college, working at Taco Bell, how they had to pay state sales tax.
I'm getting hungry.
And they're going to boo that player.
They're
going to income tax. I'm sorry. Income tax. You can tell I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. My point is, though, they're going to take out their anger on the players, because that's what they do in the pros. Now, if you've got an organization that's been losing for a while or underachieving for a while, like, I don't know, the Cardinals, maybe they'll get on the general manager. Maybe they'll talk about the owners. But most of the time, when a well-paid player underachieves, it's that well-paid player that bears the brunt of the fans' ire. That's how it works. Yeah. That's going to happen here. And I don't like that. Just for the record, I don't like that. Most of these, and I still call them kids. I do, because I'm around them. And I know. I still call them kids. Most of these kids don't have the clue that sometimes we act like they do. Most of them, despite what you might think, on a daily basis, act pretty much like you're 18 or 19-year-old, or like you did when you were 18 or 19 years old. Now, they're being guided by people that we assume, because their kid's a great athlete, well, they must be smart. Oh, they've been dealing with this stuff that kid's whole life. They understand how it works. I got news for you. Some of these people are just as clueless as the 18 or 19-year-olds, sometimes even more so, if you want to get right down to it. So I still call them kids, because I still see all of that when I'm around them. But that is an impossible sell to a fan base in this day and age, unless you're winning. Unless you're winning, then they're our boys. They're boys. They're our boys. When they're losing, it's a whole different deal. They're not our boys anymore. Now, what the political ramifications, if you want to use that term, are from this, I think it'll be minimal. Just to be very honest, I think people are going to complain and raise holy hell about this for a little while. But when it comes to pass that they don't have to pay state income tax anymore, they're not going to say any more about it. I suspect that that's going to happen in rather short order. And by the time, we get maybe even to the next season, I don't know. I think this is something that everybody's going to have. I'm not saying that's good or bad. I'm not offering an opinion on it. I'm just saying that I suspect that that's going to be the case. And a lot of this will become a moot point. But it is not a moot point today. And I do think, and I hate to keep citing Melvin's call, but, Melvin's like a lot of people from Arkansas, like I am, like the people I grew up with, like my family. He's living his life, trying to get by, trying to do the best he can. And he made the statement, though, that they're not winning enough games, and that's what I think for a lot of people this goes back to. If Arkansas was 13-0, if they'd been 13-0 last year, what do you think the reaction to this would be today? What do you think, Bart?
I think it'd probably be a little more
split
than it is.
Right.
But I still think a lot of people would be really upset.
Well, here's the thing that I think is difficult for some of us to comprehend. Not everybody lives and breathes this the way we do.
Yeah.
Not everybody's a sports fan. I can remember one time Mike Nail and I were doing a game many, many, many years ago. It was a baseball game. It was a full house. And I can remember saying to Mike, what do people that don't like sports do? What do people that don't love sports do? And he goes, oh, they become doctors, lawyers, surgeons. and
contributing members to society.
It was funny at the time, but looking back on it, I'm reminded, and the gist of that was not everybody lives and breathes this the way we do. But most everybody at some point in time pays taxes. So, but I do think that the success or lack thereof does affect people's opinions on this, whether they want to admit it or not. Not everyone's, but I think for some it does. But I don't know. It's just something that I knew over the weekend was going to be a big deal. All right, we're going to hit a quick break. 877-377-6963, 830. This is the Chuck and Bo Show. Good morning.
Bo, you said something interesting. I don't think you meant to, but when you talked about Bill,
the Chuck and Bo Show.
We care a lot about supporting Arkansas businesses here on the Chuck and Bo Show, and we both like keeping our rides looking good. Splash Car Wash just became our new neighbors here in Fayetteville. They're a locally owned Arkansas business, and they've been serving the state since 1989. They're good folks, and you can get a free car wash by texting Splash Arkansas to 22322. That's Splash Arkansas to 22322.
There's no better shopping experience than you're going to find at Macadoodles or at Guess Who in Bentonville. And every Wednesday is Wine Down Wednesday. 15% off every bottle of wine in the store, even if it's already on sale. But when it comes to selection, amazing prices, and unbeatable customer service, Macadoodles and Guess Who in Bentonville is second to none. Wine, beer, and spirits. Stock up for your next party, or just stop by and grab your favorite. Macadoodles, just north of Bella Vista, and Guess Who in Bentonville.
There's nothing we enjoy saying more than I told you so.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
Chuck and I started the show. He said we want to deal with smart people, smarter than us. It's going to take a while for them to show up because they've been dumbed down, but they'll show up.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
Now, let me just say, I know one of those smart people's not me. We are delving into an area today that is way beyond my area of expertise. I know I've said sales tax a million times when I should have said income tax. I know that. And it's because we're into stuff we don't usually talk about.
Secret drinking game going on.
Yeah, I know.
We don't know about every time
Chuck says sales, somebody's got to take a shot. Hey, the last weekend of live racing is this coming weekend at Oaklawn. Saturday, May 3rd, you can watch the Kentucky Derby live.
Woo,
if you can't be at Churchill Downs, Oaklawn's the next best place. Bart's been pouring over the lines this morning, and he'll be ready. Also, the season's never over with Oaklawn Sports. You can download the Oaklawn Sports app in the Apple App Store, the Google Play Store. Get in on the action. Futures, outright winners, spreads, totals, player props, game props, live in-game wagering. If you can imagine it, you can probably bet on it at the Oaklawn Sports Betting app. All right, back to the phones. Will's on the line in Fayetteville. Will, you're on the Chuck and Bo Show. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for taking my call. I just had a question regarding baseball NIL and how that really works. Buddy whose son has signed with the Hogs, I asked him like how much his son's going to be making, and he said he had no idea. And so how does that really work if you have a freshman coming in, but he has no idea how much he's going to be making?
Maybe he was just telling you that. I mean, maybe he was just telling you he didn't know. I mean,
he doesn't have an agent for his son or anything. He said MLB agents have reached out, but he doesn't have a college agent or anything.
I'm not familiar enough with the situation to say this is how it works or that's how it works. Every situation's different. I'm not avoiding your question. I just don't know how to answer it.
Okay. All right. That's all I was really trying to figure out. So thanks.
Okay. I appreciate your call, Will.
Well, I mean, the truth is, like, in a lot of situations, we don't know exactly how much somebody's making.
Well, and
it's about to get murkier.
Yeah, part of this bill that was signed into law means that it's confidential. Now, I got to be honest with you. If somebody came up to me and said, hey, how much is your son going to make playing baseball? I would say to them, I don't know.
100%.
That's a polite way of saying none of your business. Now, I don't know the nature of their relationship. They may be tight. They may tell each other everything. I don't know. But that'd be my response. No, there's and look, most of the time when we say we want to know or there needs to be transparency, we just want to know.
Yeah.
Well, now look, if you're one of those people who's giving money, you might have a little more of a leg to stand on. But even then, it's not as though, hey, I'm going to earmark my money for, Bobby Jones over here. You're paying for, the Smith kid over here. It's not like that. I mean, you're giving the money, I think, generally speaking, with the idea, it's going to players. You know that.
Yeah.
But you may not know exactly how much is going to which player. You might. But most of the time for the rest of us, when we talk about transparency, we just want to know. We just want to be able to talk to you. We want to be able to say, well, that guy's making so-and-so amount of money. Here's one thing that I do want to say before we head back to the phones. It's not lost on me that whether it's Madney and Maleva and the lawsuit that may be coming to get some of that money back or state income tax, we're not talking about huge sums of money. All across Arkansas right now, we got to get that money back from that kid. What are we talking, $100,000, $200,000? I mean, we're not changing the game there. My understanding, at least what Bart tells me, is that when I say from what I'm told, it means that comes from Bart. When I say my understanding of the situation is, it means that's what Bart tells me. My understanding of the situation is that in Arkansas, if you make more than $25,000 a year, your state income tax rate's 3.9%. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. So let's say you're one of the really good players. I mean, the good ones. And you're making $1 million. Let's say you're getting $1 million. $39,000. That's my math. Again, it's a substantial sum of money. I'm not sniffling at $39,000. But it's not the difference between funding DHS and not funding DHS. And if you make $100,000, that's a lot of money, much more than the average Arkansan makes. What is that, $3,900?
Mm-hmm.
Again, we're not talking game-changing money. But principally, this is very easy to understand. Finally, we're getting down into figures we can identify with. $3,900, I can identify with that. $1 million, I got no idea. Never had it, never will. But I've had $3,900. I've lost $3,900.
That was a really bad gambling trip.
But
there.
my point is, we can relate to figures like that.
Right.
And it's just been, I knew when I read it Friday, I thought, wow, this is, it may fly under the radar today. And I know the hope is that between Shedeur Sanders and the baseball series and all the other stuff that's going to be discussed ad nauseum over the next couple of days, maybe we can get by with, not a lot of people talking about this. All you had to do, and we did this in the 6 o'clock, we just glossed over it. Hey, that's out there. I mean, man, the text line exploded. That's all we said. Hey, she signed it. That's all that was said. And it's been nonstop ever since. Kent's in Fort Smith. Kent, you're on the Chuck and Bo Show.
Yeah, my question is most of these kids are from out of state.
A lot of them are.
I'm going to ask this question. Is that money going to stay in state then when they collect all that money, or is it going to go out tax-free?
Well, it depends on where they spend it. Depends on where they spend it. I mean, if they spend it here, it stays here. If they spend it somewhere else, it doesn't. I get what you're saying.
Yeah. I'm a little frustrated about that, too. So, anyway, I'll hang up and listen to the rest of the show.
Thank you, Kent. I appreciate your call. This is, this is the part of NIL. I can remember when we first started talking about NIL. Hey, they got to pay taxes on that? What are they going to do when tax time rolls around? Now, they're paying federal taxes. I mean, we're talking about state taxes. We're not talking about federal taxes here.
Oh, Uncle Sam going to get his.
Yeah. But
always does.
There are 9 states right now that do not have state income tax. Arkansas is not one of them. Arkansas is the first state, from what I understand, that the first state that has, among the states that still have state income tax, the first state to say that you don't have to pay it if it's NIL money.
Alabama, Louisiana, Georgia, some of the states that have bills
coming.
Percolating, we'll say.
Yeah. I wonder, you would think, just to be real honest, if someone had said, what's the first state going to be that doesn't tax NIL revenue? I'd have said Alabama.
100%.
I mean, I'd have said Alabama. Turns out it's us.
How about that?
I would have thought Alabama first and foremost. But it kind of makes me wonder, how come? Yeah. Maybe it's the political ramifications. I don't know. Maybe that has nothing to do. Maybe they're getting such good players they don't feel like they need to. Who knows? But Georgia's going to do it, I think. Louisiana's going to do it. And I suspect Alabama will too, unless there's so much public sentiment against it. But, again, we're the first. And now, just for the record, I've said this before, this is going to be a moot point. in short order because they're going to do away, state income tax going away in Arkansas. And you can agree with or disagree with the idea of it happening, but it's coming. And these guys are just the first ones to get it. All right, quick break. Back with more in a moment. This is the Chuck and Bo Show. Good morning.
I think you should look at yourself today in the mirror and say, what's wrong with me?
Okay, I will.
I'm not talking about you.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
If you've been hurt in a car wreck, if you're struggling to get your Social Security disability, or you're buried in debt thinking about bankruptcy, don't wait. You need a legal team that knows how to fight for Arkansans.
That's why you can trust Cadell Reynolds. Bill Reynolds and his team know how to get results when it matters most. Whether it's personal injury, disability, or bankruptcy, they've got the experience and they've got your back.
So don't go it alone. Make the right call. Dial 866-314-3728 or visit CadellReynolds.com today.
Flight by Yingling is the next generation of light beer. For those who don't follow trends, but craft them. Flight by Yingling is 12 ounces of uncompromised refreshment from America's oldest brewery. With only 2.6 grams of carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Don't just raise a glass, raise the bar. Flight by Yingling. Available wherever beer is sold. DG Yingling & Son Incorporated, Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Please enjoy responsibly.
The doors are open, and it's a new era of elegance. Blakeman's Fine Jewelry has unveiled its stunningly redesigned 8,500 square foot showroom for an unmatched luxury experience. There's breathtaking jewelry, of course, expert service, and private viewing rooms designed for comfort. And they've got an in-house cafe with handcrafted coffee to go along with a special coffee table book celebrating Arkansas's heritage. Because it's more than jewelry, it's your story at Blakeman's Fine Jewelry.
Arkansas's one-stop automotive shop is right around the corner. Fayetteville Auto Park. FayettevilleAutoPark.com. Chevy, Toyota, Honda, Acura, Collision Center, all in one place. And if you're shopping pre-owned, Fayetteville Auto Park has you covered. With so many new cars sold, we always have a great selection of fresh trades. Why settle for anything less than the best? Fayetteville Auto Park, West Showroom Drive in Fayetteville. Proud sponsor of the Chuck and Bo Show.
At the Stonebreaker Hotel, we believe in the art of gathering, whether over a thoughtfully prepared meal or a quiet moment on Markham Hill. Start your day with breakfast classics from the all-day menu, served from 7:30 to 1. Savor shareable bites from the bar and lounge menu until 10. And let the dinner menu from 5 to 9 bring familiar flavors with a fresh twist. And for a weekend well spent, how about brunch? Rooted in connection, designed for comfort. Learn more at StonebreakerHotel.com. Guys, regardless of our age, feeling good is something we all want. That's what the Sweatnum Edge is all about. It's where health, confidence, and peak performance come together. We all face challenges like low energy, hair loss, who's looking at me, stubborn weight, and skin health. The good news is we can do something about it. Get your free evaluation today and see where you are. Chuck and I have both done it and are better off for it. Log on to SweatnumCosmetic.com and click on the Sweatnum Edge.
You want to talk about washed? You're being brainwashed by idiots. You're following idiots.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
said, well, the hill doesn't look that steep. Let me take a down. And then You rolled down a hill? Well, that's not true. No, that's true. Well, I hit a bunch of rocks. It was 60 feet.
The Chuck and Bo Show.
Jay Leno's 75 today. That's the reason we played that cut. You know, he rolled down the hill.
Yeah, sure he did.
I forget where he was and banged his face up.
Outside of Pittsburgh, I think.
Yeah, and Bart has said all along that
gambling debts.
it was gambling debts.
Gambling debts.
Bart,
100%.
I mean, the next day.
He's not falling down no hill.
Yeah. I remember it like it was yesterday. I walked in and we were in the studio and I said, hey, did you guys see where Jay Leno fell down a hill and tore himself? Bart goes, gambling debts.
Immediately.
I mean, there wasn't anything. Yeah, I mean, it was gambling debts, period. End of story. No other reason to have the discussion.
Well, I hit a bunch of rocks. It was 60 feet.
60 feet for crying out loud.
There might have been 60 feet kicking him.
Bunch of rocks hit him, too. I mean, he's made it sound like his face just pinballed on all these rocks when he was falling down the hill.
The hill doesn't
Big
look
head.
that steep.
Big head.
Let me take a down. And then You rolled down a hill? Oh, that's not true. No, that's true. Well, I hit a bunch of rocks. It was 60 feet.
The operative words there. That's not true. Hey, spring is here, and it's time to get your AC ready for the warmer months. Maybe you've already turned it on. Maybe it's working great. Maybe it's not. Maybe you don't know. You don't know what it's going to be like throughout the summer. Why pay for a tune-up when you can get it for free? Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. When you switch your maintenance plan to Pascal, you're going to get a free spring AC tune-up. Plus, you're going to get exclusive member benefits like discounts on repairs, priority scheduling. That's a big deal. Whole home savings on plumbing and electrical services because it is Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. So don't wait. Switch and save with Pascal. Sign up today. GoPascal.com. That's GoPascal.com. Let's go to the Situation Room. Bart has new information.
Well, just an interesting story involving a former Razorback baseball player, Dominic Fletcher. He's playing for the Charlotte Knights, AAA baseball. Started in right field last night, went 2 for 6 at the dish, had 3 RBI, but he also earned his first career save in the game. He came on to pitch in the 12th inning. He was the 9th pitcher used by Charlotte in the game in a 13-12 pitcher's duel.
Wow.
And he gave up 2 hits and a run in the inning of work and picked up the save for Charlotte.
Wow. That may be the only save of his career. Who knows? But I don't know. That's an interesting story.
Yeah.
Right. By the way,
13-12.
did you see where the Savannah Bananas sold out 81,000-seat Memorial Stadium in Clemson, South Carolina? I don't know if you saw the 60 Minutes feature on them. It was either last week or the week before. They're selling out football stadiums right and left. The Phillies hadn't sold out a game in forever. They bring the Savannah Bananas to town, and you can't find a seat.
Yeah.
And it's that way all over the country. The what's their not their B team, but the name of the team that's coming to Fayetteville? I forget. Party Animals.
The Party Animals. Yeah, that's it.
They're going to be in Fayetteville, I guess, in August, July, late summer, sometime during the latter part of the summer. I'll have to check my facts on that. But the Savannah Bananas are just crazy. They're like the Globetrotters of baseball, and right now, I mean, I don't think the Globetrotters put 81,000 people in a football stadium. It is amazing what's going on right now. People will pay to be entertained. If you're boring them stiff, they're going to act like it. If you're helping them have a good time, they're going to act like that too. We're back tomorrow. Hey, Mega of the Week, Chuck and Bo Show.
Hey, you can beat inflation and upgrade your ride at Chevy of Fayetteville.
Dr. Scotty Boulding,
now,
a native
home a brand new
Arkansan,
Chevy
oral and maxillofacial surgeon. One of my goals is to make Arkansans healthier. If you have
with rates as low as 1.9%
if you're having issues with your gutters or drainage around the house, you need to call Hog Trough Gutters. They're locally owned and operated with over 30 years of experience. Seamless gutters made on site, trenching and French drains. Plus, they're fully licensed and insured, and every job comes with a 20-year year guarantee. Hog Trough Gutter services all of Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. Log on to their website, hoggutters.com, to find out more. That's hog, GUTTERS.com.
Hey, you can beat inflation and upgrade your ride at Chevy of Fayetteville. Right now, drive home a brand new Chevy Silverado, Blazer, Equinox EV, or the Tough 2500 with rates as low as 1.9% APR. Plus, take advantage of huge discounts and get top dollar for your trade-in. Go see